Hello, folks. This is Atala. I'm a nature spirit photographer and an energy worker. I wanted to take you on a trip with me to see some of the photographs that I've taken in my career. Very often, these are photos that have a story behind them that's even larger than the photo itself. And in this series, I wanted to take you on an exploration of the parts around the photo and around the story. I call the series Nature Spirit Storytime. The first place I'm taking you to is called a Vision Quest site, and this is at Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. Now, this is the site that holds the Vision Quest area. It's several areas all together, and it's really not distinguishable as a very powerful earth portal unless it's something that you needed to know. It looks like it's a bunch of stones that have all fallen down. Garden of the Gods itself is a very beautiful place in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is the view of it from a hillside opposite the area. It's a national park that's free to all. Inside the park are these amazing red sandstone formations that have been there for millions of years and have been shaped by nature spirits, and by beings of other realms into unusual energies. So I'm going to take you and show you some of the things formed by beings of other realms and some of the signatures of nature spirits when they're looking at their home. In here, this is the Grand Plaza, and we'll discuss this at another time. This is a very powerful place. If you look up in here on the cliff, this is a mural that was created interdimensionally. It indicates the power of all of these Native American stories over the centuries and their basis in historical fact. So you see here an ant person with that long ant snout, and over here he's backed up against an Indian, and here is a mountain lion. So this memorializes the saving of the pure of heart Indians and animals by the ant people during the last flood. What we're going to take you on today to the Vision Quest site is somewhere over in here. And you get to it today by a path behind these trees and into this area. So here we are at the back end of the Vision Quest site. Now, this is a place that was shown to me by my guides many years ago. I was simply walking along the path and I felt a very strong pull and a message from spirit that I needed to go up what is now just a little animal path into an area. So I've learned by now to listen to when the spirit guides tell me there's something of interest. I went up there and came upon this site. Now, this looks like a jumble of rocks, but it's not. It's more than that. Up here, my guys explained to me, this is where rocks have fallen down and they've created crossbars. And the bravest of the Indians, the young Indian braves, would sit up here to do their quest of several days in order to get spiritual enlightenment. Other people would come into this area here, which is entering into the inner earth, the Mother Earth, and they would stay here for several days. So I'm going to tell you the story about the area seen through here with this guardian. Now, before we get to that though, just to see how powerful this place is, you can go around to the other side of this. You see here the stones. You've come around to the back end, and here you see some portraits of the various nature spirits who guard over this area. So we have an Indian, another gentleman, we have a gnome, and we have a warrior elf here. So here's the warrior elf. These are very tall beings, and they often are at important places. They leave their signature in a tree or a rock. Sometimes they live in image of themselves. And they usually have a helmet that comes down over their nose and around the ear, or some version of this helmet. Here's his mouth and his chin. And he is at the chin area of the Indian that we'll see next. And this is what happens often with nature spirits. They're using a limited palette. So in these rocks, the rock spirit here is representing itself as an Indian. And you can see here his Indian headdress and the feather, the Indian nose, that sharp Indian nose, his mouth and his chin. And beneath here is where that elfin is. And it indicates that the elf warrior is an aspect of the Indian, and both of them are working to protect the rights of the nature beings and the humans in this area. They're working together, just as they were working on that front wall that I showed you a little bit ago. Now, anywhere that you see powerful things going on in the inner earth, you're going to find a gnome around somewhere. The gnomes are very hardworking, industrious beings that help craft a lot of the armor and the handiwork of the nature spirits. So here is the gnome. You can see him right here. And here's his hat and his eyes and his nose, long nose. Over here is that Indian we were looking at before with the elfin warrior, and here's another nature spirit. Now, down at the base of where these people are, these native forces, is a small outcropping. And in here, another group of nature spirits crafted a heart. And inside the heart is a mountain lion, the same kind of a mountain lion that we saw on that cliff face. The mountain lion seems to be a totem animal for this area, is highly honored. I would imagine probably for his bravery, his ability and agility in climbing over the rocks. So there are a number of images in the garden of him. This is a nice cozy one being protected. And nowadays, this is an area that's populated by a lot of families who come through with their children, and the children love to climb on this rock. And you can see this is a comfortable, sweet mountain lion. The nature spirits love to have the children around. It's a way that they relate to humans and help to show the humans the interrelation between nature and themselves. Here the animal is up close. So now here we are back in the Vision Quest area. Now this simple, happy looking, easygoing guy is actually a portal guardian. He's guardian of place and in disguise. And you can see him here. He's a little bit bigger. You can see it, and you can see how impenetrable this area looks like. But when you come up close, now here he is. He has these legs like a sphinx, and the entryway is in through here. You can tell that the nice looking, easygoing guy has his eyes pointed down in that direction. His mouth is kind of over there. He can be seen full face, and he can be seen as in the side profile. So anyone who stops long enough and identifies with this image is going to know something's going on here. And if you get to the other side, his demeanor and his character changes totally. This is the same rock that you saw before. Only this time you're seeing it from the back, where you would be sitting up here for your vision quest, looking out at this guardian, and this guardian actually is protecting you from being viewed by anybody out here. And he has the high cheekbones and large nose, an overhanging brow. And he is responsible for protecting you as you undergo your vision quest. Now, part of the vision quest is that you're looking for the shadow side of yourself and coming to terms with it, who you are, you know, your sense of responsibility to the community. And the last time I was visiting, the nature spirits asked me to sit here for a while and just watch what was happening. This is one of the large towery parts of this rock formation behind us that looks, as it goes across the guardian, like an authoritative figure with a hat and his face and his body. And they explained to me that this was the shadow self that the vision quester was coming to terms with. So I started taking photos when the authority figure was at the third eye. And then he started marching across with the sun as you're processing it through your own self, what the shadow side is, a little more. And then as you process it, there's a transformation of the shadow into a being of light. And here the light is traveling up the wall and becoming more and more beautifully light, with the eyes, the mouth, the nose. You can see him here, a very peaceful, happy being. And here the shadow has absorbed into the light, and they've become one and integrated. And the nature spirits told me that this is the process that's going on with the vision quest here. When you're done, you've been fasting for several days, a day or several days. What you really want is some water, and this is desert country. So very often throughout the year when I've gone back, I found at the top what I call the baptismal font. There's an indent in the top of the head that collects rainwater. So when you're done, you break your fast, there's water there for you to refresh yourself with. Today, and sometimes when there's not water up there, children love to climb there. Often when I've sat there, I've had children clambering around there. The family, older parts of the family stay below, and they clamber up and have a wonderful time enjoying all the rocks, and parents take their photos there. The nature spirits love this. They love the children. They love to interrelate with humans and really want to work with us. So there we are. This is the story of the Vision Quest site. If you'd like to see more of my photos of nature spirits, you go over to atalatoy.com and you can visit and see that, and stay tuned for more. Thank you very much for listening. Have a lovely day.